Yo, what's going on, world? This your boy Najee from Cigar Talk, and today I got a very special guest, man. Seated to my left, hey man, this brother, he been running up on everybody. He gonna have to run up on Trevor Mccumby on the 12th. I got my man, Caleb Plant.
What's going on, brother?
What's up, brother? How are you, man?
Man, doing good. Camp's been going well, going smooth. Sparring's been going great.
Yeah.
And closing in, so.
I've been watching your YouTube channel. First of all, I gotta commend you. Your content is A1, bro. Like, you got, this shit look like 24/7 for real. Like.
Yeah, it's all access quality, so got a good team with me, and they've been doing a great job, so.
Nah, for sure. I mean, I feel like, you know, you've said, you know, like this was your best camp in a while. Like, you're like, yo, this feels like this is my best camp in, you know, in a long time. Why do you say that?
I think the amount of work that I put on this last year before we got to camp, since the David fight, just the amount of work that I put in, whether it be strength and conditioning, the running, the sparring, the work in the gym. Like, I put in more work than I ever have before, and you know, hard work always pays off. So once we got to camp, it has been a real smooth transition, you know, into sparring, and you know, we've been having a lot of good quality sparring rolling in and out, and you know, I've been handling them. So. No diddy.
All right, so hold up, because you know, like you said, you've been out since the David fight. You know, not to what you wanted, but you know how it went. In that time, I saw you saying, like, you know, your pops was saying how y'all was still active and you know still whatever. During that period, is that hard for you? Just like being off when you want to be on? No diddy.
Sheesh. I mean, no, I love being in the gym. I love sparring. Like, I love the grind. I love strength and conditioning. Like, I enjoy it, and also enjoy the people that I work with. Like, everybody on my team, you know, I got a good group of people who work with me. So it's like I'm a professional boxer. If I'm not in the boxing gym, what else am I going to be doing? So I enjoy the work. It's fun, and so whether I had a fight on the books or not, you know, I'm always in the gym. But like I said, this time around, it's just, you know, I really tried to take it to the next level. And I've sparred like 300, what is it, JP?
349.
Yeah, 349 rounds since my last fight. So I've clearly been in the gym, staying active. So I'm super sharp right now.
349 is crazy. I got about 3 rounds in me. It's a good ass 3 rounds though. You know what I'm saying?
3 more?
That's it. Come not with you, man. Not with you. Don't run up on me.
Yeah.
But nah, listen, I think since Breadman has joined your team, I could tangibly see a difference, right? Like just me as a fight fan, watching your style, watching like, you know, just I feel like little intricacies. I feel like he sharpened you up a little bit. Do you feel like that? Like what's the difference to you between like before Breadman and now?
I feel like my game is more rounded. You know, in between fights, me and my dad travel to Philly to train. Sometimes I just travel to Philly to train, and then he'll come to Vegas and train in between fights. But you know, only a couple times while I go out there and he'll come out here. And it's really just, you know, he's giving me things to work on, and me and my dad just are on it. So, you know, 90% of the year is me and my dad in the gym, you know, going over things. So I really got to, you know, tip my hat to my dad and, you know, thank him for all the time and effort that he's put in with me over this last year, because, you know, he's been in the gym with me every day. He's been in the strength conditioning with me every day, picking me up for my runs, you know, along with, you know, my wife Jordan. You know, they're like right there with me every day. So I really got to tip my hat to my dad for the workouts that he's planned, and how it starts from the beginning of the week, and how it, you know, as we go into the week, how each workout complements the next.
Right.
And so, yeah, shout out to Dad.
Nah, for sure. Shout out to your pops.
And shout out to Brett, because, you know, if it wasn't for him, you know, we may not have been working on those particular things, on those certain things. So, you know, as you move up in the ranks, you know, you got to smooth the edges of your game, because you're going to run into somebody who's, you know, where their game is well-rounded. So you got to be up to par.
Nah, for sure. Obviously, we got Trevor Mccumby on the docket. You know what I'm saying? Yo, listen, man. Number one, that's the MAGA boy. He the MAGA mascot right now. You know what I'm saying? Came through with the hat, the mullet, all that.
Yeah.
He's talking some shit to you. I mean, how do you analyze his game when you know, watching film?
Yeah, I mean, he's had some choice words for me. He called me a quitter, you know, which is odd to me. You know, I can't ever remember a time in my life where I've quit. So that's definitely added fuel to the fire. he's had some other choice words for me as well. But as far as him and his skill set, he's 28-0, 21 knockouts, and it obviously takes a certain amount of talent and skill and work to get to a record like that, regardless of the level of opposition that he's faced. So I'm taking him real serious. I'm taking this fight very serious, and but I don't think it's going to be enough. On the 14th, he's like 31, 32 years old, 28 wins, and he's yet to step up in a fight. So I feel like if he truly was confident in his skills, if he truly believed in himself, he wouldn't wait until now to step up. And at the same time, it's like I take offense to the fact that you're going to wait this long to step up, and then you choose me as your step-up fight. Yeah. So he's got an ass whooping on the way.
All right. Do you feel, because I know when I was watching the press conference, you was like, yo, you popped dirty before, you know what I'm saying? Is that a concern of yours? Obviously, I don't know what the testing is like or anything, but does that ever play into your mind just in terms of something like that happening?
I mean, it's a possibility, but, we have had VADA, we have had drug testing, and so I try not to put too much thought into it. You just got to control the things you can control, and that's your preparation, your discipline, your dedication. The list goes on, but focus on the things you can control. Otherwise, you'll be worrying forever. So
for sure.
It can happen. But even if he was on something like, Diddy, it's over for him.
You don't want to get hit with an Ostarine punch, bro.
No.
That was all the time.
Right? Yeah. So I'm not worried.
Yeah. Two-time world champion, like how important is that to you? Is that like a staple for you? Is that something that's like a real, that meaningful?
Yeah, absolutely. It means a lot to me. I've had this last year has been, a difficult year in a sense, because not anything with my family or anything that goes on at home, but I've had to battle through some things, some injuries and stuff. I don't want to get into it right now, but to have to work through that and then to go into camp and being better than I ever have, and to have had the most successful camp that I've ever had, the best sparring I've ever had, that took a lot of hard work. And whether it be, in physical therapy or, all the list of things that comes along with that, like, I'm proud of myself to be where I'm at right now because I know the amount of work that it's taken. And so for me to battle through that and then become two-time champion, I mean, that means everything to me, so.
For sure. Yo, Caleb, we got to talk about you running down on everybody, man. You looking like Debo out here. I'm like, yo, what is going on? Caleb is running down on the whole boxing game, bro. What's up, man?
No, I'm not. I haven't run up on anybody,
Come on, stop the cap. Stop the cap.
A couple people have ran up on me, and it hasn't worked out for them.
Fair enough.
So that's more along the lines of how things have went here recently. But, hey, if somebody is stepping to you in an aggressive manner, in a threatening manner, a man's got a right to defend himself. A man's got a right to, defend his family's name, defend his family's honor, stick up for their wife, stick up for themselves. And, I encourage anybody out there who's watching this, if somebody's bullying you, if somebody's fucking with you, messing with you, trying to pick at you or pick at your family, pick on your family, put a stop to it, and because bullies don't like that. Bullies like to fuck with people who don't do anything back.
True.
And even if you step to somebody and they wind up getting the best of you, I bet they don't keep fucking with you. So that's how I was raised. That's how I grew up. That's what my granddaddy and my daddy taught me. And I plan on passing that on to my kids as well. So if you think you're just gonna run up on me and bully me or fuck with me and my family, talk about my daughters, talk about my wife, that's not gonna work out.
But why you? Why you think it's coming to you? Because I feel like if somebody told me, yo, two boxers got into it, I'm gonna assume Caleb Plant might be one of them. I'm just gonna assume that. But why you think it's you?
I mean, I feel like that's more of a question for those guys. I can't really put my thumb on it. Maybe it's because I have a big name, and maybe they feel like if they can piss me off and get a fight with me and beat me, then they'll be in a good position. But like I said at the press conference, that's not the way to get a fight. If you want to fight with me, go win a couple of fights, get your buzz up, get put in the rankings, and my resume speaks for itself. I've never been hard to make a fight with. I've never been hard to find. So you just gotta go about it the right way.
Yeah. All right, your illest scuffle to me though, the illest one was the recent one, cause you was looking like a boss. You had all all your peoples was jumping on old boy.
Yeah.
Was those you knew them? Was those your friends, or they were just like fans that was riding for you? Because you la raza right now. You know what I'm saying?
Those were just, honestly, we had just met shortly before that. So they had told me, like, you know, we see that people sometimes run up on you and try to pick fights with you. And, you know, if somebody fights you tonight, we're fighting. If you throw punches, we're throwing punches.
Yo.
And not 2 minutes later,
That's crazy.
Sure enough, like, that guy ran up, you know, trying to act silly, and, you know, you seen the rest. So
Yeah. Okay. You know the other one, man. Come on, Edgar Berlanga.
yeah.
You know, he's on your card. You know, yeah, it's interesting. Y'all kind of been going back and forth. I think it's not real. It's just competitive because we at the same weight class. That's the feeling I get. Based on that, is that something like you feel like, man, I want this fight. Like, I want to beat this guy up?
Right now, I don't have like any fights in mind that I like gotta have, you know, because I have a big fight on my hands already,
Yeah.
and it's an important fight. And you know, with the WBA interim title on the line, and David Morrell moving up to 175, there's a good chance that the winner, me, being elevated to WBA regular champ.
Yep.
And you know, Canelo has a WBA world title, so you know, if you can do the math on that, it's gonna put me in a really good spot. So right now, my full attention, my full focus is on the task in front of me, because you know, I've seen so many fighters like, oh, after I win this, I'm gonna do this, and after I beat him, I'm gonna do that. And they're so focused on the next thing that they don't even win the fight that's in front of them. And you know, I never want to be a fighter who makes that mistake.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen a million times. So right now, my full attention is on the 14th. But you know, getting past the 14th, you know, there's going to be a handful of big fights, you know, that are sitting right in front of me, and you know, that's one that interests me.
For sure. I mean, you're on the card. When you just think of Berlanga and Canelo, like, how do you see it?
I mean, I see Canelo getting his hand raised. You know, I just don't think that Edgar has, you know, I've said this in an interview too, I don't think he's got the boxing skills, the chin, or the IQ to, you know, last through this fight. So we'll see, though. That's for him to prove us wrong and, you know, go out there and get his hand raised. So, but, you know, from what I know about boxing, I don't see him getting his hand raised.
Okay.
What about you, Najee?
Oh,
You know your
Najee
guy.
Al-Sheikh, you know what I'm saying? You got to refer to me as Najee. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, pardon me. You know what I mean? I think, to be honest, if I had to bet, the safest bet is Canelo. You know what I'm saying? A ton of experience, a lot of power. You know, he's been at this level before, so I generally err on the side of experience if I'm making a bet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Smarter than he looks, huh?
It would be. But, yo, listen, one thing, like you said, you mentioned this earlier, but I would admire how much you ride for your family, man. Like, family means a lot to you from what I can see.
Yeah.
You and your wife, Jordan, she's over here. Shout out to JP over here. How did y'all meet, man? Is that like you at PBC, you know, she's doing PBC? Was it just like I had an interview and after you was like, hey, what's up? Like, how does that even happen?
One time I was fighting in LA, and I was sitting in my room, you know, trying to stay off my feet, and I seen somebody like some of my pictures, and I was like, man, who is this? So I go to her Instagram page, I'm like, wow, this girl is, you know, really pretty. Like,
Yeah.
if I ever see her, like, I gotta say something to her. Yeah, I gotta say something to her. And then the next day I'm sitting at the weigh-ins, and I'm like looking at the stage, and I look over on the wall, and she's like standing on the wall. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, so it was about you?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you gotta stay focused. You gotta stay focused.
Right.
And then, but at the same time, I'm like, man, you said if you ever see her, you'd say something to her. So after,
Hold on, you was nervous? Was you nervous about to pull up?
no, not nervous, but you're trying to be funny. But no, not nervous, but I'm just like, you know, but I'm at my weigh-ins and I got a fight coming up, so I gotta stay focused. But
for sure.
at the same time, I'm like, you said you'd say something to her if you ever saw her. So after I weighed in, there was like a water place to get like cups of water and stuff, and so she went over and stood by that. Cause she knew I'd be thirsty.
Oh,
And,
so she was setting it
she
up.
was scheming. She was scheming.
Okay.
She wasn't even working that fight. She was just in LA hanging out with like girlfriends.
Yeah.
And she knew that I would be there, so she pulled up to, you know.
Okay, I
You
feel
know
like
what I'm
your
saying?
style, man.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
your style, man.
So after I weighed in, I walked over there and, you know, introduced myself, hit her with a little little funny right quick, make her laugh.
Hold on. Do you say like I'm Caleb Plant, like, or you just like?
Nah.
Do you act like you, or does it just happen? Or it's just natural?
I'm not gonna get into details, but
All right.
I hit her with a little funny, made her laugh,
Yeah.
and then I just bounced.
Okay.
I left her in suspense. She was saying like it killed her that I didn't like ask for her number or anything, but I'm like, wow, this girl's pretty. She probably has a lot of guys, so I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
And then a couple hours later, I get a message on Instagram like, hey, it was nice to meet you. I'm like, yeah,
Got it. Okay.
got it.
And then y'all got married next week.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And ever
Okay.
since, Jordan, it's one thing to have a great woman, and then to have a great friend on top of that. Jordan's a great friend, not just to me, but to everybody around us, and
Yeah.
to have a woman who's not just a great woman, but a great friend, that's a rarity these days. And, when you find something good, you got to hang on to it. And I would have made it far in my boxing career, but I don't think I would have made it as far or been as successful without her by my side, because there's just so many things that she does and so much weight that she carries, especially in camp, outside of camp, that allows me to really just focus and hone in on my craft. And you can't just do that with everybody, so.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I like that. Like I said, I see y'all around on the, on your channel. You have your daughter there. You know what I'm saying? All tight knit. This is a little personal, so if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. But I know you've been open in the past just about, your other daughter that passed and how much that meant to you and the fuel that you've used it for. Just as a man and as a father, like, I guess, how much does, having Charlie now, like, inspire you based on, whatever the past was?
Yeah, I mean, that it's been, with Charlie, like, nothing could ever fill that hole, because kids don't replace, your new kid's not going to replace your old kid. But it's just, it's been a blessing, just to go through the situation that I went through with all her health issues and everything she had to go through, and then to have, like, a child who's so healthy and vibrant, and, she never cries, she's always laughing, she's smart, she talks, she's able to do all these things. It puts things like in a different perspective for you that maybe not everybody has. And so it's been, with Charlie, it's been so fun. Like, honestly, to me, there's nothing better than fatherhood. And for a long time, it was like, there's nothing that means more to me than boxing, but I'm in a place in my life where the only thing that is above boxing for me is my wife and my daughter, because we're so close knit and we have such a good time together. Like, it means a lot to me. So, I hold those things very dear to my heart, so.
Yeah. Tell me about your pops, man, because we still on the family subject. I feel like, he ride for you when I'm watching that thing. He sound country, yo. He got the real country accent.
Yeah.
You don't got an accent. He got the real country accent. But
I mean,
it's always an interesting relationship, like being, that's your father, but your trainer, and everyone has different variations of that.
Yeah.
Talk about yours.
Me and my dad, we've always been super close. Like, ever since I was a little kid, I've been in his back pocket, running around with him everywhere. And so, and we've always had a great relationship. Like, we don't have a relationship where we, like, argue or fight or, like, disagree. Like, one thing that I'm blessed to have is a dad who, he doesn't make it about him. He wants to see his son succeed. He wants to see his son take it as far as he can. And his ego doesn't get in the way of that. And so my dad, he's a funny guy. All my friends love him. He's like the coolest guy in the room at all times. So he's been a big inspiration to me, seeing how hard he worked when we were growing up. Mm-hmm. And my granddaddy as well, seeing how hard they worked. It really inspired me to go out and make it on my own. Regardless of what situation I come from or where I come from, seeing the things that they beat and battled through and came out the other side, like, that inspired me. Like, my granddaddy, his parents brought him to a grocery store when he was like 8 years old and said, we can't afford to take care of him. Can he live in the back of this grocery store? If he does, he'll work for you for free.
Wow. And
so at 8 years old, he's living in the back of a grocery store, and he grew up to own multiple grocery stores, own a post office, has traveled the world, like, had a big 200-acre farm that I grew up on because he lived like a mile down the street from us. And, has been able to be a good provider for his family and owned hundreds of acres that he sold off for subdivision. So he literally come from nothing and,
Right.
To be living in the back of a grocery store to owning multiple.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. So those guys I wouldn't be here without them. Two strong men in my life who have, helped me become a man myself.
Well, you said your dad, he boxed too as an amateur. Did you ever see any of his bouts? Like, did you see, like, do y'all have similar styles?
No, we don't have it. He said he didn't have good defense.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So
He's
so
gonna
that's
go
all.
there.
Yeah,
Just rumble,
yeah,
like.
rumbling. So he was a kickboxer.
Oh, okay.
And he fought on ESPN twice, but he never turned pro.
Oh, that's real. If you on ESPN, that's real.
Yeah, and so it was natural, for me to want to follow in those footsteps. And I played football as well. And once I got to high school, my dad was like, you need to pick one. High school ball is really demanding, and so is fighting. So whatever you pick, I support, but you need to pick one. And I was never good at school. I didn't like school, so I'm like, I'm going to boxing.
All right, okay. Let's shift gears a little bit, man. I put out a tweet the other day. You actually responded to it. I said, Stephen Fulton, shout out Scooter. I just interviewed Scooter yesterday.
That's my guy.
I said, Scooter is the best dressed boxer in the game. And then somebody responded and they said, what about Caleb Plant? I said, nah, I'm not forgetting Caleb. I said, Caleb top 3. And you said, I'm
top 3.
Yeah, then you said, nah. You said, I'm top 2 and not 2. So tell me about the fashion. Like, when did you start wanting to really be, put that shit on, like get in your fashion game?
I mean, when I wanted to put that shit on when I was like a kid,
Yeah.
but obviously I didn't have the funds for that.
Right.
But fashion, that's something I've always liked, something that I always like admired and studied. And so it's just something that I probably stems from not having any of that stuff as a kid and wanting to have nice clothes, wanting to have nice shoes, wanting to have nice things. And it's just kind of grown since I've gotten older, and now, I'm in a position where I have my own brand.
Yeah.
And it's been doing really well. People have really taken to it and shown a lot of support, which I'm thankful for. And now I'm trying to run, my own brand up.
Well, definitely, I'll give me an RT shirt, you know what I'm saying? We got to do the revenge tour.
You know where to find it, right?
Oh, yo, listen. Yo, you the biggest troll out right now, dog. This is not even the first time you did this, because you did this to Benavidez, and now you bought Edgar. I was the one that broke the news on Twitter, you know what I'm
I hate it
saying?
when I was about to block you.
Chill, come on. I would have hit JP like, yo, tell him unblock me, yo. But, nah, listen, man, you a troll, bro. You bought EdgarBerlanga.com. Why did you do that?
I think it just from our little interaction that we had in Vegas for the Canelo Jaime Munguia, I felt like he was just too much of a smart mouth, you feel me? And I didn't like that, so I was like, JP, look this up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, his dumb ass doesn't even own his own domain. So, if you're a professional, you don't own your own domain, like, you don't even deserve to have it. So I just bought it and really was just going to keep it in my back pocket. Maybe one day we'll fight, and but he just started smarting off too much, so we had to put an end to that.
Yo, y'all are diabolical. I love it. Nah, that's what. Hold on, you did it to Benavidez too. Was it the same deal? Like, you feel like Benavidez was talking crazy?
I had bought that in like 2017, 2018.
Yo, I'm trademarking my shit tonight. Make sure. Yo,
Yeah.
Listen, I ain't gonna let you be buying Cigar Talk, man. Don't do that.
I know, right?
I'm about to come see
And
you.
I knew that one day we'd fight, so that was
Yeah.
just like a card I had in my back pocket. But I got a couple others, but we'll see. See how that goes.
Nah, I love that. I love that. Those two matches. I mean, Canelo and Benavidez. I think, from a boxing perspective, you showed a lot more than I think people thought, just by the level of opposition. How, like, if you had to put in perspective, like, in terms of difficulty, which one was a harder fight?
I mean, probably the one I didn't make it to the end of. Yeah, getting stopped in the 11th by Canelo,
Yeah.
obviously disappointing, but I did have some good success up until then,
Sure.
and it was a close fight.
Absolutely.
6-4, probably 6-4 going into the 11th. So,
I agree.
and then with David, handling the first 5 fairly easy, but things started to get away from me in the second half of the fight. That's a big old boy, and on top of that, he's a great fighter. So, I got to tip my hat off to both. It's hard to say. You both have, there were pros and cons to both. you know, there's things that David does better than Canelo. There's things that Canelo does better than David. So that's a high caliber fight. And in that fight, you know, I couldn't say for sure.
Yeah.
You know, if David Benavidez won, I don't think the world would be crazy surprised. But if Canelo stopped him or knocked him out or won, it's like, could you be crazy surprised if he beat David? So, you know, both are great fighters, and, you know, maybe we'll get it at some point.
What do you think about just Benavidez coming in big? Like, some people give him the weight bully title, things like that. Did you feel like his size played a factor in, you know, the later rounds?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, okay. I mean, he's just, you know, he weighs a lot. He's a big guy. He's a big frame, and at the same time, you know, he's got a lot of boxing skills to go on top of that. Speed, he's explosiveness. He puts his punches together well. So, you know, he's got a lot going for him. You know, I don't want to really make any excuses. You know, he's a good fighter. That's why I wanted to fight him to begin with. You know, that's the goal, right? Like, if you say you're the best, that's to seek out the best fights possible and try to make them. And so.
You've taken some criticism just about your gas tank. I see fans saying that, or people who say, like, yo, we think he gasses out late. Do you agree with that?
I mean, there's been fights where I've gotten fatigued in, and but it's not from a lack of conditioning. You know, it's from I feel like it's more so from a lack of me not smoothing the edges of my game as much as I should be or should have. And so it's not from a lack of not working hard, not training hard, because everyone who knows me knows I'm in the gym year-round training, keeping my weight in check year-round. So, but I've been smoothing the edges of my game like we spoke on earlier. And so, you know, that's why I'm excited for this fight. And that's why I'm saying, you know, this will be the best Caleb Plant yet. And at the same time, you know, I stepped up into those big fights pretty early in my career. There's guys who are 32-0 who haven't stepped up, you know, and, you know, I stepped up with 17 fights against Jose Uzcategui as an underdog for my world title.
Knocked him down a few times.
Had my voluntary defense against Mike Lee, and, you know, they threw me an alley-oop with that one because I won my belt the hard way. And but then I went right to a mandatory in Vincent Feigenbutz, and then I went right to another mandatory again with Caleb Truax, because then I would have a year free Worth and Clear to try and make that fight with Canelo. So that's why I took 2 mandatories back to back. And then obviously since the Canelo fight, you know, I've been taking tough fights back to back to back to back. So I haven't had as much time to like hone in on my craft as some of these other guys who are still 32-0 and fighting nobody. So, but again, you know, I make no excuses. I've see you on the 14th. Tune in and watch. You're gonna find out.
Yeah, listen, I ain't gonna lie. First of all, I want to talk about Revenge Tour, but you got my. I'm gonna get a shirt. I'm gonna buy a shirt, and you know the moment that made me be like, all right, I gotta buy a shirt. You know the moment.
I'm listening.
Anthony Durrell, man.
Oh yeah.
Yo, dude. You know. All right, I gotta know about this, because all right, I just assume, like, as a white guy in a sport that's predominantly, I can't even say now because there's a lot of Europeans in this now, especially.
But in America.
Yeah, but in America, dominated by minorities, you know, you're going to get that. That's the sports in general. Where,
I'm the minority.
Right. So that's where, you know, you get the, like, I ain't getting beat by no white boy. Like, I think that's just like a thing. I've heard that across sports, not exclusive to boxing, not exclusive to you. You took offense to that, and then when you dug the grave on him, I was like, nah, I'm a fan. I like this guy right here. Yeah. Tell me about that, like that moment to you, just, you know, being that guy.
I mean, it's something like I've been hearing my whole life, you know, and I don't want to sit here and act like I'm a victim, because look at the position I'm in, you know. I've never bitched about it. I've never cried about it. If that's how you want to treat me, if that's how you want to talk to me, you know, we'll figure that out. We're going to find out. And with the Durrell fight, you know, he had put up the Joe Calzaghe, Bernard Hopkins clip where Bernard was saying, I'll never lose to a white boy. I'll never lose to a white boy. And so why would he put that up if he didn't feel like that? And then just with some of the other things he was saying, I did take offense to that. And so, but I proved my point, you know, and we buried the beef. We buried the beef at the end.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I loved it because Harvey Doc was trying to stop you. Like, nah,
from putting, get the fuck out of here.
Shovel.
Yeah. Or you're next.
Yeah, I love that.
Nah, but Harvey Jock was doing his job. I was doing my job. So Durrell earned that one, and you know, I moved on. So
yeah, I say that to say, I'm buying a T-shirt from that moment.
sure.
But tell me about just the venture, the brand. Like, what was like? When did you come up with that? When was that like? All right, this is a thing for me.
Like a clothing line is something that I've always wanted to have. I was really just kind of waiting on the right moment and the right time and the right name. And after I lost to Canelo, I thought about Revenge Tour and, you know, me going from place to place, stop to stop, handling the business that I need to handle so that one day I could get that rematch and get my revenge and, you know, right that wrong. And then I started just thinking on it more. I'm like, man, I feel like this is the name for that clothing line, because I feel like, you know, we've all, you know, maybe for me it's, you can't beat me, white boy. But for you, it could be something else. You know, people telling you why you can't do something, why you'll never make it. We've all had shortcomings. We've all been through trials and traumas, and, you know, the life has handed us bullshit that we've had to work through. It may not even be a person, just life. Like, you know, my situation with Aaliyah or my mom or whatever. You know, I got a million other stories that I've never told, but things that I want revenge against and my get back on life. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. You know, we've all been through things that make us want to get our get back. And I just thought it was something that people would be able to resonate with. And thus far, you know, people have really taken to it and shown it a lot of support. So,
yeah, for sure. All right, well, shit, you got my word. I'm gonna give my shirt. I like that. I like the message. Good message.
To get back.
I want to get into, you know, one of the big fights. I'm gonna just get your opinion on the big fight. Obviously, Turkey Al-Sheik's been talking about he wants to make Terence Crawford and Canelo. How do you see that? Do you like fights like that when a guy who, you know, he got to move up 2 weight classes to take on somebody like Canelo?
In general, no. But, you know, Terence, he's a special breed, you know, and thus far when he's, you know, set out to do something, he's accomplished it. And Terence Crawford is not just any fighter, you know. And so in that sense, you know, I would be interested. And
you think he has a chance?
I think he has a chance. You know, whether he does or he doesn't, you know, that's for them to figure out. But, you know, Terence is a special breed, you know, like I said before. And so, you know, I would tune in. I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you about, you put out a tweet not too long ago where somebody put up a picture. I think they said, this is you and Charlo. And it was like little Bow Wow and Malcolm in the middle. And they was like, this is you and Charlo and the amateurs or whatever.
Yeah.
And you said I missed those days, like the amateur days. Like what do you miss about that? Like what was that when you said that?
Well, I just, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about like, it was really just for the love of the sport, you know, and to hopefully make money one day and, you know, with the things that come with that, okay, that's cool. But it was just about boxing, you know, and I while the money is good, you know, that's like not my number one reason why I do this. Like that's not my why I fight. You know, I love the sport and it's done amazing things for me. It's had my back when I felt like I didn't have anyone else there to have my back. When I've gone through certain things in my life, it's been a place that I could run to and just like get away from the world and just disconnect from all the bullshit I was going through. And you know, boxing demands your full attention. So you may be having a bad day, but eventually that boxing workout gets so hard where that just becomes like all that you focus on, and all those other things just kind of fade away for a while. And so nowadays there's a lot more pressure. You know, not that I mind pressure because I obviously don't, but there's just a lot more things involved other than just for the love of the sport. And there's a lot of people above who are, you know, pulling strings and making things happen. And, you know, I don't have anything bad to say about that, but it's just a different vibe back then. And going to the tournament, seeing all your amateur buddies that you only get to see when you're on those trips, you know, those guys, some of them, you know, go on to become like brothers, you know, so I miss those days.
Okay. Another tweet you put up, you posted it was DMX freestyle from the backstage.
Oh yeah.
Put pinstripes, of course, some windpipes.
Yeah.
You was like, yo, this is one of my favorite. Like, yo, you really in on the culture. Like, you really in it. Like, everybody don't know that freestyle. Like, you know.
Yeah, yeah. That's always been like my favorite DMX freestyle. He killed that one. And you know, just.
Did you grow up around black people? Like.
Well, I'm from the country, so you know, like everywhere I'm from is mostly white. But obviously, you know, we would go to downtown to get a lot of sparring, and it's not like I've never seen a black person before. It's like, hey, you know, like, but.
Cause I'm saying you got a little more sauce than like Trevor Mccumby. You know what I'm saying? Your sauce is a little different than his. You know what I'm saying?
He's from Chicago.
Is he? I thought he said he was from the country too. Matter of fact, I heard him say something like he was like, "Yo, me and Caleb are probably really similar. We grew up in similar places."
He's from the suburbs
He
of
just got more
Chicago. He's
money
not
than
from
me.
the country.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, I've gone through things where I felt like certain music artists understood what I was going through. You know what I mean? So, your words were, I'm a minority in this sport, and so, from my perspective, just listening to certain music and gravitating it towards it, because it's like when you're going through things and you feel like nobody understands, but then you listen to music and you're like, wow, this person, it's like they almost know exactly what I'm going through. And then also just being an athlete, being in the gym all the time, it's like, are you gonna listen to country music in the gym, or are you gonna listen, you know, I love George Strait, I love Waylon Jennings, but it's like, I grew up in a gym all my life, so it's like, what type of music do you think gets played in there? So, but yeah, I have a big respect for, you know, music, hip hop, but I listen to all kinds of music, you know. I love country music, I love rap.
So before you about to come out, like when you get in your zone, what you listen to?
I like Conway the Machine.
Oh, Conway's
You know,
nice.
that's like my brother, and he'll be at the fight.
Oh, okay.
You know, I like before a fight, I like Young Dolph, Tennessee guy. I like Don Tripp, Tennessee guy. He might be walking out with me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that's my guy.
Damn.
So
Better than my son. I see dog. Okay.
Yeah. So
That's what's up, Tennessee. All right. Yo, listen, man. You've accomplished a lot so far in the sport. I think, you know, becoming a two-time world champion, which I feel like, again, I'm not just saying this because you're here. I would tell you if I thought you would lose. I think that you're gonna win this fight. Obviously, you can't look past this guy. He, you know, hard hitter, tough fight ahead of you. But what else, like, do you want to accomplish, like, as far as goals? Like, do you have more goals that you're like, before I hang it up, before this is all said and done, I want to do this?
I mean, it just boils down to being in big fights, winning as many world titles as I can, and, you know, just really putting my name in those history books. Like, you know, money is cool. I don't really care about fame. Obviously, we all need money to get our bills paid, and, you know, we want to provide a better life than the one we had. But, like, the glory and my name in those history books, that really means the most to me. And, like, my name being able to live forever. You know, that I've had a lot of people who didn't get to live that long. And it's crazy because the way the world works is like those people pass away or whatever happens, and then within a couple of days, like, the world just goes back to just everyday life, you know? And if that's kind of sad to me, you know? So not to get all sappy, but, like, if I could put my name in a position where it's like it lives forever, that's a big motivating factor for me. So
Fire. Last question. Do we bury the hatchet with Ryan Garcia, Caleb? Is the hatchet buried? Can we go, you know what I'm saying, shake hands? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Everything cool?
when he apologizes to my wife,
Okay.
yeah, when he rights a wrong, and he does it in a genuine manner, because he likes to fuck around a lot, he likes to be funny a lot, and some shit ain't funny. And so when he rights that wrong in a genuine way, then we'll see.
Okay. And my boy Ray Jackson on Twitter. Come on, yo, leave my boy Ray Jackson alone.
Fuck you, Ray.
There, Caleb Debo. Yo, listen, man. I appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much. Good luck. September 14th, Caleb Plant versus Trevor Mccumby. Good luck, man. We out of here.